Well, yeah, maybe not everyone is sold on Oklahoma State this season, but enough people that matter enough to sell out Boone Pickens Stadium again.
You are Locked On Oklahoma State, your daily podcast on the Oklahoma State Cowboys, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Howdy, y'all, and hello, all. Welcome back to Locked On Oklahoma State, your daily stop for all things cowboy and cowgirl related. My name is Cody Stovall. I want to thank you kindly for stopping by to make this your first listen here on Locked On Oklahoma State. You know we're available on every single podcasting platform, as well as visually on YouTube. You can find me personally on Twitter at AllDayOState. Let's get into this today. It's pretty simplistic. We are sold out. And that is a big deal, especially for a large contingent of us that have grown up with it not being a complete normalcy, right? Not all of us have grown up in the times where you expected this to be something that you have on a year in, year out basis. But if you do want to take your seat in this new Big 12 as one of the front runners, I guess you could say, you got to do it. You got to do it. So this is a good sign. It's a great sign to see that Boone Pickens Stadium in Stillwater, Oklahoma will be sold out this season when season tickets are now done. So you can still buy some like 3-pack tickets, which is a pretty interesting idea. So I implore everybody to go out there and see what you could still potentially get your hands on. But, part of this is it being the last Bedlam ever in Stillwater, Oklahoma. You are going to want to have your hands on these tickets, even if you're OU fans, even if you're fans outside of the Big 12. And Oklahoma State does have a policy in regards to Bedlam, and they make tickets for Bedlam pretty difficult to come by. So it's going to be a pretty epic season for the ones that are there. And there will be plenty of people obviously pulling for Oklahoma State around the country, but the ones that are there are the ones who feed into the atmosphere. They're the ones that make all of the excitement for the young men who come to Oklahoma State. So this is a good sign. This is a very good, especially when you take into consideration that for the first time since 2008, Oklahoma State gets no votes in the top 25 for the AP poll. So if we're sold out, that means enough people are starting to kind of come around to the idea that this season should be a season that you want to get eyeballs on. This is a season that enough people understand that regardless of what your thoughts were of last season and how it went down and what could have went better and, what we did in the offseason, whatever steps you thought we maybe needed to do, this season has a lot of markings for something pretty special. So it's a big deal. It's a very big deal. For some colleges out there, this is, every year, this is what it is. But this is another reason for us as Oklahoma State fans to be excited about the idea or even the prospect that we should be at the forefront of the conversation for the new Big 12 team. So selling out Boone Pickens Stadium on a year-in-year basis is pretty important. But it doesn't start unless you get it done first. So hats off to everybody out there who got their hands on the season tickets. Hats off to everybody out there who went through the voting process and decided to give us more ammunition. That's fine. I'm okay with it. I would probably wager most of the guys in the locker room are okay with it. And this is typically the position most players want to be. You want to be the hunter as opposed to the hunted because it is a little bit easier. Look at TCU last year. When you can just put your foot on everybody's throat and throw caution to the wind, it can help your season quite a darn bit. That should be what we see this year, right? We've had the conversation already. All gas, no brakes. Leave no quarter, leave no mercy, give no excuses. Just go for it. Just absolutely go for it because nobody's expecting you to do a lot except for the people that are going to be inside Boone Pickens Stadium, inside Stillwater, Oklahoma, and to some degree inside the Big 12. I think a lot of Big 12 schools realize that Oklahoma State should be somebody that is considered every single year. We're going to be in the conversation more often than not, so you might as well get used to it. No, I don't think Utah is going to come in and run stuff. Do I think they add a lot to the conference? Absolutely. But this is the steps you have to take. Selling out is part of the gig. And if you can't do that, then it's really hard to have conversations about being more competitive in the NIL era, being more competitive in the recruiting landscape that it is now. Should there be some bumpers put on it? Yeah. Is there going to be? Potentially. I think at some point in time, when you get to the mega conference style of conversation, right, if the NCAA is going to step up to the plate and prove to be worth something, then fine, so be it. I think we'd all welcome that for a change. But if not, we know that there's capabilities for these conferences to get together and make something just as powerful, that isn't as biased, that isn't as wrapped up in some of the benefits financially as the NCAA. So great job, Cowboy fans. You got to sell out. If you can't sell out season tickets, it's going to be difficult for anybody else from the Big 12 to understand why you should be viewed as one of the top dogs in the conference. So this helps with the conversation, right? The other day, there was, I don't know, a thing put out in regards to the top brands in the Big 12. Obviously, sell to OU and Texas in there, so naturally they're up there. Yeah, I don't have a lot of disagreement. Baylor did just win a national title in basketball recently. I think I would say longevity-wise over the last 10 to 15 years, right, the bulk of the kids that are looking at the college game right now understand Oklahoma State is a pretty heavy hitter, especially in this conference. I would put us above Baylor, but that could just be because I do love me some orange Kool-Aid. Regardless, BYU, yeah, they're probably going to be the most noticeable national brand whenever this whole thing starts running. But we're going to be able to make up some ground pretty quick. As long as we're competitive in the playoff race and we have a team up there competing all the time, I don't think it has to be a blue blood or the development of a blue blood. But a lot of people tend to think that you have to have a TCU up there all the time to be that Alabama, to be that Oregon, to be the Utah, whatever. I don't necessarily believe that. I think the Big 12 can rotate quite often, and that add to the allure of the conference, is top to bottom, 1 to 14, 16, 18, whatever we end up doing here. It's the most difficult. So, yeah, this is the right step. This is definitely the right step. And I can handle a little bit of disrespect. Like, I get how last season went. It was terrible. Worst year since 05. I think it's comical. People think that there's a potential of us repeating that. But nonetheless, it is what it is. It's all right. So before we kind of jump over and talk about the disrespect that should not be, it shouldn't exist, okay? But before we do, ladies and gentlemen, I do have to talk about our sponsor today, which is going to be Nutrafol. If your hair is thinning or it's thinner than it used to be, then this is a battle that you may need to run into here pretty quickly. Pun intended. You should take this thing head on. So do yourself a favor, go get yourself hooked up with Nutrafol. You don't have to choose between hair growth and your health. Nutrafol provides a whole body health approach for men that provides healthier hair. No drugs, no questions, no compromises, just better hair, right? Nutrafol is a #1 ranked dermatologist recommended hair growth supplement. It is clinically shown to improve your hair's growth, visible thickness, and visible scalp coverage. Nutrafol's hair growth supplements use physician-formulated natural science-based ingredients. Their drug-free patented technology provides consistent, reliable results without compromising any of your sexual health. Go to Nutrafol.com/men to take their health, hair, wellness quiz. Identify causes of your thinning hair, and Nutrafol will give you a personalized plan for better hair health throughout your whole body wellness process. Nutrafol supports healthy hair growth from within by targeting root causes of thinning, such as stress, hormones, environmental, nutrition, lifestyle, metabolic, everything. Everything you can physically possibly think of, it helps you understand it, break it down, and make it stronger. This is why 84% of men showed improvements in their hair within the first 6 months of taking Nutrafol men's hair growth supplements. If you want it to be thicker, you want it to be healthier, for a limited time, Nutrafol is offering you, right, our listeners out here, the first month's subscription and free shipping when you go to Nutrafol.com/men and enter the promo code LOCKEDONCollege. Find out now why over 4,000 healthcare professionals recommend Nutrafol for healthier hair. Nutrafol.com/men, spelled Nutrafol.com/men, and enter the promo code LOCKEDONCollege. Do it now. That is Nutrafol.com/men, promo code LOCKEDONCollege. It doesn't have to be the battle that you're looking at. You don't have to cover it up all the time. Go get yourself squared away today with Nutrafol. Okay, so again, last season didn't go very well. Should we have an overabundance of dudes on list? Yeah, probably not. But you've seen Brennen Presley on the Blitnikoff Award list, and you should. And now, recently, you've seen Colin Oliver move to the Chuck Bednarik Award watch list, and he should be as well. You know, he's going to be one of the most outstanding defensive players in the country, definitely in the Big 12. And this thing's been given out since 1995, and there's never been an Oklahoma State player that's won it. That part of this I find pretty interesting. And there's a list of Big 12 dudes in this daggone thing. Texas Tech's Jalen Hutchings, UCF's Jason Johnson, TCU's Josh Stewart, West Virginia's Aubrey Burke, Cincinnati's Dante Carleone, Kansas's Kobe Bryant, OU's Ethan Downs, Texas Jalen Ford, Kansas State's Kobe Savage, and Iowa State's TJ Tampa are all part of this. This is a big deal. And him also being on the Bronco Nagurski preseason watch list, it is going to make for pretty good television, right? The 4-star product out of the pipeline that we were able to build up over some time in Edmond, Santa Fe. You know, people tend to forget that he had offers from Tennessee and OU, Oregon, Arkansas, Georgia, Ole Miss. He's a very sought-after guy. And he deserves all of this. So does BP. So does Brennen Presley. But who's not on this list? Who's not on any of these lists right now, seemingly, is Kendal Daniels. I mean, I'm sure he doesn't mind. The Predator will make his presence known this year. Most of us that have followed the Big 12 understand that this dude is pretty special. All of us in orange-loving cowboy country, we get it. I'm glad that he came back, right? This is the right fit. It's the right place. He realized that he could do a lot at Oklahoma State. He can accomplish a lot of things, whether it be championships or individual accolades as well. It's all true. So how's he not on this list? 6'4", 6'5", 220, runs a 4.4. Has a good understanding of what's asked from him this year. Gets spacing a little bit more now. Has been very understanding of what Brian Nardo's system and scheme are going to be able to provide for not only him, but all of the safeties. By season's end, Oklahoma State will have more guys on these lists, for sure. But it's just like the preseason rankings. At the end of the day, they don't really matter. But the end of the day is a few months from now. The end of the day is quite some ways down the road. And just like it does matter to some degree where you start, right? Whether you're like us and you're starting in the low 40s type of range, it just means it takes a little bit more. It takes a little bit more work to climb up the gauntlet of teams that are ranked ahead of you. Not a big deal. I'm sure Kendal Daniels is okay with not being on lists. It's more motivation. Bulletin board material does exist. Disrespect can be viewed in the right way. And I expect Kendal Daniels to view this the right way. But how fun is it to know that you're getting local products, Okies and Brennen Presley on the Blitnikoff preseason award list. And then you have another Okie and Colin Oliver, local product, getting put on a couple of different preseason lists. And then for us all to know that one of the guys that should definitely be on lists is another local Okie product in Kendal Daniels. It's like having a part of the best kept secret, right? This secret formula that we try not to let out of Stillwater. It's not going to last all that long. Film typically doesn't lie. Stats lives will matter for Kendal Daniels. But again, think about that. These are Oklahoma products. And this could be a year that we're able to capitalize even more than ever on some of the branding, right? Some of the capabilities that us having a logo too could reach out and grow Oklahoma State in a big way. This is a big time to take advantage of it. If we can, that'd be great. If we can't, okay. Worse things have happened in life. Okay. We're okay. Now we get to shift here a bit. And let's cover a little bit of the hoops action. So we know our Cowboys went on to Spain with a super young team. And we played the professional squad. Started off very, very well for us. We looked good, but there's a lot of things that we were able to find out through the entirety of this process. You know, very early on, we knew that Connor Dow may be a little bit more than just a sharpshooter. His 6'6", almost 200-pound frame has a lot of room to grow, but defensively, he showed us that, okay, we know what we have here. Eric Daly even started showing that with the USA stuff. So we knew what he could do, but he was the only player throughout the entirety of these games that averaged double figures. He did pretty much the same thing with Team USA as he's able to do here. He can pick his spots. He can pick times in the game where he knows he needs to score. He can also pick times where he probably knows he could do a little bit more or needs to do a little bit more, right? So just learning everybody and getting comfortable with everybody and where they're going to be on the court at all times, it's going to help quite a bit, right? Javon Small is the facilitator that we've likely been needing for years now. Not just last year or the year before. I think this has been something that we've been missing for quite some time. Since maybe even Cade. Is Javon Small going to be like Cade in a basketball sense? No. But that's not what we need. We just need him to fill a particular void that we've been missing for a long time. And if he can fill that void, we've got guys that can, make up some of the ground. Keon Williams is somebody that started off really hot. He trailed a little bit at the end, but a lot of it was matchup and getting players time to play. There was no limit on shots. Take that, whatever you will. But we allowed people to kind of find their rhythm, find their shot, find where they thought they could fit in. Eric Daly Jr. needs to, to take a little bit of a leadership role, I think, ironically enough, because he's young. But at 6'8", 230 pounds, he could be a little overly aggressive at times. But he has a good understanding of what we need. We have a good understanding that we need to get better offensively. And for the most part, we did that. Game 3 didn't exactly go our way. It looked shades like this previous season. A 1 for 14 from 3-point range to start off is not a good look, but we dialed in there towards the end of the game, and we made it fun. We made it interesting, whether it be a trip to Spain. It's not time to overreact. It's not time to freak out. I think there's a lot of positivity here. Still don't know what we have in Jarius Hicklin, but we know that he could offer some shooting if he can find a stroke. Jamron Keller, maybe more than just a filler piece. At 6'3", 210 pounds, he's got that Byron Eaton style of game, but he's going to be more dependable than maybe we thought. Coming into the year, I didn't think he'd really get a lot of PT at all. And then, obviously, probably most importantly, is the big man. It's going to be some growing pains. Isaiah Miranda is very talented. Right? He's got the offensive skill set. He's long. He's tall. He understands if you leave him up for a three, that he can bust it, and he will. And that's big in today's game, especially as it translates to the NBA. I mean, nowadays it's kind of hard to be a big man if you can't shoot. But that's the problem. He ain't very big. We need to get the big size drawn out of him, however you say it. Now, Brandon Garrison, he's pretty college ready, 6'11", almost 250. Didn't necessarily look like it, but he did drop 12. And he was able to chip in occasionally, and he got banged around a little bit, but that's going to be inevitably good for him. This was a trip that we could have used Mike Marsh. Mike Marsh is going to be the big bruiser, type of fella. And we really could have used that. We could have used that in Spain, but we learned to work together. We learned a little bit more about, from a shooting side of things, where do we need to work on? Who can we rely on? Who can we look more towards on this end of the floor? Who are going to be some of the defensive guys? Who are going to be the glue guys? This is part of the learning. And if you're going to learn this stuff, you might as well do it against professionals. You might as well learn and go through the trial by fire against grown men. So although, a 1-2 record may not be what everybody looks to, what everybody thinks of when it comes to a success per se, I think at the end of the day, we probably learned enough to know we might be better than we thought, but it's enough to know what we need to work on, and that's enough for now. All right, y'all. That's all we're going to have for this one. I love you. God bless. Go, folks. And thank you for tuning in to make this your first listen. We know you could be anywhere. So being here at Locked On Oklahoma State means a lot. All right, y'all. Later, tater.